everybody. Welcome to the Comments from the Peanut Gallery podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz. I'm here right now with a very special guest, my man, the Water Buffalo Skittle Gang, Mr. Fabio Cherant. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, brother?
I'm doing very well right now, my man. How's life out in Boston treating you?
Can't complain, Besides the humidity right this time around, everything's good, Great training, good. Just living,
Awesome, my man. Well, so you've got a big fight coming up for the Contender series here in a couple of weeks. Where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter, both Buffalo MMA 8. You can friend me on Facebook. It's just my name, Fabio Cherant. And that's basically it, I think.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, so tell us about the Contender series. How did this opportunity come up? What are your thoughts as things are approaching in the next couple of weeks here?
So the opportunity came from my manager, Jason House, out of Iridium, and it was after I was supposed to fight back in March, and my opponent had other plans. Didn't work out. We couldn't make that fight happen, and my manager hit me up, told me to just stay calm, relax, and we'll hook you up with something. And a few days later, I got the text and contract. We signed and we're here. It's been I've been out of the game for a couple months, for a little while now, and now it's just time. Now it's almost here, and I'm like a kid at a candy store, man. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
I'm sure it's definitely something that as it comes up, you spoke about having that anticipation for, just waiting for it to come along. But yeah. Also have to throw a shout out to Iridium Sports Agency, Jacob, Jason, Lance, Ed, everybody over there at Iridium. So shout out to the dark side.
Yes, sir.
Yep, absolutely, man. So you're sitting still undefeated. So how has tell us what got you here? Like what's the journey that brought what in your life brought you to martial arts?
So it's something I've always been intrigued in. Growing up, I was a big fan of art. I almost went to art school, and I find it like it's a cool way to express yourself, and I got into it at a young age, and when I was like 10 or 11, I made a goal that one day when I'll give it a try when I'm old enough and I can drive myself. And on my 21st birthday, we got invited to a gym a couple towns away from where I live, and from there, I started going training, and then the more and more I went, the more I fell in love with it, and then eventually, after a month and a half of training, I was getting ready for my first fight, and then from there, man, it's just everything kind of just went fast. Can't really explain the process. I'm still trying to process it myself. Everything happened so fast, but I'm good at adapting, and we're here, and I'm ready for it.
So you're young in the game still, and especially being at 24, where you've kind of came up in the sport, it's already had kind of a multiverse aspect. When you mentioned going into a gym that way, probably to where there's a full curriculum going over different aspects of the game across the board versus maybe somebody of yesteryear that came up as a boxing specialist that then had to learn their grappling later on, and vice versa, so on and so forth. So, but with that being said, what would you say, if you had to name something is your specialty, what would you name that?
On paper, it's grappling, but I think my specialty is by far my striking. But I've not really had the opportunity to showcase any of my striking like I want to. But I'm not here to appease people. I'm here to grow in the sport and do whatever I have to do to get in and get out with the W. So if a submission it is, that's what it is. Totally
understandable there. So that being said, you've had a significant amount of jiu-jitsu training in that mix. Have you done? Did you wrestle growing up? Was that any part of what you did, or did it all start pretty much at that point when you were 21?
Yeah, everything started. Growing up, I was big into skateboarding and BMX bike riding, and then right around 8th grade, I got introduced to football, and I played football, track, and lacrosse. And then from there, I just jumped right into MMA after high school. So I didn't have any type of training for martial arts. I just jumped right into it and I picked it up.
Were you a fan of mixed martial arts, MMA, the UFC, Pride, anything growing up?
Oh yeah, me and my brothers back in the day. We used to strap on some gloves, like the 4-ounce glove you can get at Walmart or like Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that. We'd just go in the backyard and just wail on each other. and then from there, like my dad got me a video game where I played the Undisputed, and then I started looking it up and like looking up fights, and from there just kind of just enjoyed watching it. But I wasn't too big into it until like I actually started.
Who was some of the guys early on that you looked into, or that maybe inspired you to further your career with mixed martial arts? What are some names that we can maybe attach to that?
So the very first fight I ever looked up was Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner.
Okay.
And then you know how crazy that fight was.
Oh yeah.
And then after that, I watched a live fight, which was Den Henderson versus Michael Bisping.
Okay.
Where Den Henderson knocked out Bisping and then dropped the H-bomb on him. Yeah, that fight. And those two guys right there, I like a lot. Especially Forrest Griffin. I truly was a big fan of him. While he was in the game, and then it came on Connor, a couple other people, but yeah, those are basically the first two guys that I really followed.
Okay. Now I'll ask you this: with that, was the Ultimate Fighter something that you followed along? With those two, did you watch the show back then, or was it again kind of just later? That's who you first looked up as you were older.
I watched the Ultimate Fighter more when I actually got into it. I knew about the Ultimate Fighter. I didn't really understand it too well. Actually, one of the guy that got me into this was on the Ultimate Fighter with. It might have been Rampage and Rashad, the light heavyweights. I'm not too sure. It was Pat Walsh, whichever one that was. It was like Corey Anderson, Pat Walsh. I think it was maybe Uriah Hall. I'm not too sure, but there was a couple of big names in that one.
Yeah, I know Uriah Hall was on the one with John Jones and Chael.
Okay, maybe that's the one it was. I don't remember.
I can't remember. I mean, I've seen most of all the old seasons. They just kind of run into each other after a while there. But it's crazy, though, because that season, with Forrest and Stephen, like half of the season didn't even relate to like fights and whatnot. That was such a pilot season as far as like how the Ultimate Fighter went, because the first few episodes there were no fights. There were like just challenges. It was like a real like reality sort of show, like a big Big Brother, Real World, whatever, name your bullshit reality TV show with all the little challenges and all that sort of stuff and the drama. And then they finally got to the fight. So I don't know. It was a big change throughout how the course of that series went. But I always like watching them, and I like going back to watch the old ones because you can hear the coaching.
Yeah,
that's one thing that I like about it.
I definitely like the Contender series a lot more than the Ultimate Fighter.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't think I'd be able to go out spend a couple weeks out there living with a bunch of guys that I don't know and not my coaches, and it's just I couldn't see myself doing it. Like if it was, I definitely could, but I don't think I would like it too much.
Yeah, bro, that is 6 weeks in a house with a bunch of other dudes with no connection to the outside world. You don't have your phones, you're not connected with social media, you don't have TV directly in there, you're basically isolated within those walls of what you're doing. So yeah, I could 100% understand why that would be something that somebody would not necessarily want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what if everything goes according to plan? What's your goal? What is your goal by the end of, say, this year? Where do you hope that puts you?
My goal by the end of this year is so I made a goal 2 years ago that I would be in the UFC by the time I'm 25, and my 25th birthday is in November. So my goal is to be in the UFC by then, and I would like to, if everything, like you said, goes to plan, make my debut in October in Boston, my hometown. I think that'll be a great story to add for somebody that's so young in the sport. I've been doing this for 3 years, and I've jumped into it, and kind of just ran with it, and how fast I grew with the sport. I think it would be amazing to add to the story for somebody that went pro last year at the beginning of 2018, and then in 2019 I'm getting an opportunity to fight on the Contender series for a contract, and then get my chance.
Now, your opponent, Alexa Kimura, and I may be butchering his last name, but he's a pretty seasoned veteran. How do you feel like, do you think that the experience is going to weigh in? Do you think that you just have what it takes, that doesn't matter no matter what is stepping in there against you once you make it to Vegas?
Man, I'm different. I like to think myself as very different in this sport. I train with a lot of seasoned guys. Look at my training partners. All those guys have been doing this since they were younger than I am, and they're in their 30s, 35 or so, So I don't really care about all that season crap. And once you're in the cage, it's a whole different story, I'm looking to show people a lot of things in a few weeks, who I am. People will soon realize who I am.
Oh, I can totally feel you there. You mentioned your training partners. Who are some of the guys that you're training with routinely?
This camp we've kind of had style-based training partners, but I've had Mike Rodriguez, Greg Rebello, up and comers, Marty Navis. So like I got good guys on my team. I'm sure he's got good guys as well if you look up his team. But at the end of the day, it's not the training partners that are in the cage with you. It's you. It's mano a mano.
Exactly. Yep. No, I couldn't agree with you more as far as that goes. Now, with you having kind of this real fast-tracked sort of trajectory with your career right now, is that something where you kind of have to just pinch yourself and ask, like, is this real? Like
all the time. All the time, it's crazy. It's crazy to me that I've gotten to this point at such a fast in such a fast pace. I made the goal for it to be like this, but I wasn't expecting it to actually happen. I was willing to put the work in and see where the road takes me, but it's happening. So it's kind of like, wow, it's crazy what a mindset can do in the sport, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be here.
You hit on something that to me is always a major aspect of my approach. Mentality, mindset is everything. How do you do a lot of mental training? Are you reading? Are you going through affirmations, meditating, doing anything along those lines?
No, I've been through a lot in my life, a fuck ton, and this right here is nothing compared to some of the stuff I've been through in life, and it's just another obstacle in life that I have to overcome and conquer. You know, so it's something that I'm ready for, and I really can't explain. I can't explain the feeling. You know, it's crazy.
Describe some of the adversity that that you're comfortable with sharing, that has made you have this untouchable approach.
I mean, like first, I mean, from a young age, I really had to grow up. You know, from child abuse, running away from home, getting into foster care. I've been in foster care since I was 8 years old, and I bounced from homes, and then finally I landed at one home, and I've been with the guy since I was 9, and I'm 24 now. So it's crazy. I grew up without any biological family members, and from being basically homeless to where I am right now is to me is being successful, because God knows where I'd be if I didn't get into foster care and living where I was, where I picture myself being if I wasn't here, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that speaks to, your mental fortitude, just like how you had said. I mean, you have every reason to have that chip on your shoulder, to kind of have the fuck the world sort of mentality, but to be able to prevail through those sort of circumstances and to be able to live past the adversity, that's something that, I always say adversity builds character. You could either let that sort of stuff consume you, or you can let it fuel you, and you've obviously let that be something that, that sets you on fire, that propels you forward. So that's a hats off and a kudos to you. So have you grown up in the same area around in Massachusetts your whole life, or kind of moved around?
No, I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I lived in Haiti for a little bit, and then when I was 7 years old, I moved back to America, and then from there I bounced around in New York, and then moved to Boston when I was. Everything happened so fast. But I moved to Boston when I was 8 years old, where I lived with a very abusive aunt up until like I was right around my sixth grade. After I graduated sixth grade, so I moved to Boston, and then things took a turn. From there, I kind of just got sick and tired of getting the shit beat out of me every day, and one night I just ran away, and I got into foster care like as soon as that happened.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy story, man. That's definitely not something that most people would have been able to make it out of. So like I say, man, hats off to you for being able to push forward through that. And I mean, very, very cordial, very nice and respectable. So how did you get your nickname?
So my coach, Mike Gresh, the local Lobo, he was asking me like what I wanted my nickname to be, and I was telling him I wanted to be the Panther. And he was like, "No, that's so boring. Everybody wants, like, that's such a cliche name." And he called me the Water Buffalo because I'm big and black and I hit hard.
Well, I mean, fair enough. What about you love Skittles, right?
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, your mouth guard and everything is Skittles, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is that just something like another thing that since you were a kid loved, or any other association with it?
I actually so like I never like got to celebrate my birthdays or like Halloween or anything crazy like that. So back in the day, my mom at the time used to buy me Skittles from a corner store that was down the street, and I thought it was legit the only candy that you'd ever get was Skittles, and I thought they were the most amazing things ever. And then from there, like when I'd go Halloween trick or treating, once I got into foster care, and my foster dad would take me trick or treating and stuff like that, I would only get Skittles. That's it. I would only get Skittles, and it got to the point where my dad would portion out my candy because I would just sit there and just eat them in one sitting.
Eat all Skittles all the time.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It was pretty funny.
It's like some Marshawn Lynch type of stuff right there. Real Beast Mode.
But yeah, I mean, that's why I'm trying to get sponsored by them. You know, it'd be awesome because I grew up eating Skittles. That was the best thing to me, and I'm still eating it till this day. And I couldn't even tell you the amount of times I've slid into Skittles DMs. I'll tag them in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
I love it.
Oh, I mean, you got to keep on blowing them up. You got to try to get that, especially as things grow along. I mean, I see that as a realistic thing that can come about.
Yeah.
Because why not?
I think so as well.
Why not, Skittles? Give my man a look here. Why not, Skittles? Come
Seriously. I was talking to Jacob not too long ago, and I was telling him I'm trying to be the Marshawn of the MMA world. Bringing Skittles to MMA. It would be awesome. I think the mouthpiece. I don't know if anybody's ever done it, but I'd like to think I'm the first person that's ever made a Skittles mouthpiece.
I mean, I'm not gonna authoritatively say that I know across all, contests across the board that nobody has, but to my recollection, I don't know anybody that's had a Skittles one as far as an MMA goes. So I think that's definitely bringing some original flavor right there to the table.
Hell yeah. I think it's so funny, Everybody always asks me the same question about the Skittles. They're like, why do you like Skittles so much? It's I love it. What's not to like about it, I get so angry when people say they like Starburst or Sour Patch Kids or something over Skittles. I get so angry.
That's awesome. You ever get angry when you see the bowl full of candies and you grab a handful and you find out that they're M&Ms instead of Skittles?
Oh God, this is the first thing I look for because I'm not a big M&Ms guy. So as soon as I look at it and I see it, I'm like, what the hell is this? and right now I can't really eat Skittles because I'm kind of leaning off of all the junk food just till after this fight, and I have people sending me stuff on Instagram or Snapchats of them eating Skittles, and I'm just like, come on. Don't do that. That's messed up.
To the words cruel and unusual punishment mean anything to you.
Yeah, seriously, have some respect, I'm trying to be good here and not eat Skittles, and you're sending me this shit and making me want to eat Skittles.
So that was going to be one of my questions was what is the hardest thing for you to give up while you're in camp or trying to cut weight? But I think we've answered that question pretty well. Skittles has to be up there in the mix. Is there anything else that's an extremely tough thing for you to give up?
It's Skittles, and my guilty pleasure is, so there's this a couple stores around here that have them. It's a brownie ice cream sandwich. It's 2 brownies in between ice cream. Oh my God, it's the best thing in the world. It is so good, and I'll go to the store and I'll get that and a bag of Skittles, and I'll eat both of them in one sitting and not care about it, and I won't feel bad.
I have a sweet tooth myself, and that sounds absolutely phenomenal.
If you haven't had it, you're missing out. And then they have the chocolate chip cookie ice cream sandwiches too, which is pretty good if they don't have the brownies. But the brownies is like my go-to.
That's pretty awesome, man. There's a local spot up around my house that they serve. They have it's a salted like Oreo or like a salted cookies and cream ice cream with cookies on the outside. That's like a salted caramel cookie on the outside. It's like, dude, like I'm not trying to torture you now, like telling you this.
No, it's not. Like I don't have to really cut weight. I don't have to cut weight, so it's like it doesn't bother me. But like, if I really wanted to, I could just go eat Skittles and like all this other stuff and not have the problem at all. You know, it's just I'm just trying to like be good because my goals are to eventually drop down to 185, and it's just trying to like build that discipline that where I can go without it and not eat it. You know, so it's like just prepping. You know, but right now I could easily eat all that stuff and make weight tomorrow if I needed. You know, so. It's like I said, it's just prep, you know. So I'm just trying to build that mental aspect of weight cutting, you know, cutting out the stuff that most people don't want to do.
Totally understandable there, my man. Now, we've covered a few different topics as far as life to the fight game to, you know, just some of your interests. Is there something that we haven't covered yet that you want the people out there listening and watching along with us to know about you coming into this fight?
I just want people to know that, you know, like if you have a goal or anything you're passionate about, to go for it, you know, because you never know what can happen. Like, look at me. I made this goal turn into almost a reality. You know, my foot's almost at the door, and it's just by me setting a goal and going for it. You know, it's okay to be uncomfortable. If you're chasing a dream that you're passionate about, just go for it. You know, because it's. I don't want to live life with regrets. I don't want to, when I get older, I'm sitting down thinking about the things I've done in life. I don't want to be like, man, I wish I did this. Why didn't I do that? I don't want that thought. I want to be like, man, I'm so glad I did that. Like, that was the best thing ever. Because like, it's just it sucks seeing people that have dreams and they don't go for it because they're scared to fail. It's okay to fail. Like, there's nothing wrong with failing. As long as you put everything you've had into it, you'll see good things happen, and you never know what kind of outcome, you know. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now, and it's working out for me, because I could have easily went to college. I could have easily stuck with the military, did my thing there, but you know, it's something that I see myself doing, and I want to do. And I just think that people should realize it. Like, fuck everybody telling you, oh, you can't do it. You're not big enough. You're not strong enough. You know, you're not athletic. Blah blah blah. That shit's nonsense. If you think you can do it, why not? Why not? You know.
Absolutely, my man. You hit the nail on the head of all the stuff that just, you know, fuels my fire that way. Go for it. Go all in. You know, chase that dream. If you have that passion, go after it, and fuck a plan B. You know, yeah. Go after it all in. So, you know, I just like to say, you know, to me that you took time out of your day, you're in camp, have a lot of training and everything going on. So I want to wrap up by saying thank you all out there for following along with the Comments from the Peanut Gallery project. You can follow us along at Comments from the Peanut Gallery on Instagram as well as Facebook. Check us out on Twitter at Peanut Podcast. www.cftpg.com. This episode is brought to you in part by Atypical Designs and Culture, as well as Colorado native company Heating and Air. It's the heat of summer right now. Make sure that you are taken well care of. Give Colorado Native Company a call at 303-218-7788 and ask for Robbie. Let him know that the Peanut Gallery sent you. Thank you guys very much for following along. Fabio, thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you on the Contender series here in the next couple of weeks. Looking forward to seeing those Water Buffalo shirts out there too as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the work that you've done with the shirts. Yeah, I'm excited to see them. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, my man. Anytime you make your way out here to Denver, you know you always have yourself have your spot to crash, come train, do whatever you want to do along those lines, my man. We'll make sure that we put the wheels in motion and make it happen.
100%. I appreciate that, brother.
Absolutely, man. Well, you have a great rest of your day there, boss.
Hey, you as well.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you guys for watching.
you.